joined by Cleveland Guardians pitcher Tanner Bibee, a former RubberDuck with the team in 2022 in Akron. And Tanner, you're in big league spring training now with a season under your belt at the major league level. What's this spring been like for you?
It's definitely been different. It's definitely a little more exciting. There's obviously like a little more expectations, but it's been nice because kind of a little more comfortable. But now spring training is kind of I'm getting down to the last of my first, so it's good to get this one under my belt as well.
And take us back to maybe a year ago where you had shown some real promise but hadn't made that debut yet. And what was it like at this time a year ago for you?
I think there was a big difference between this year and last year. I mean, obviously still in the minors, and I think I just made that jump to the upper levels. I think at this point last year I was still going to go back to Akron until Tristan got hurt last year. So I think now it's just the only thing that I do know is that I'm going to be at the same spot. So that's probably the only thing that I would say is like super different, but yeah, that's what I would say.
So the difference now and kind of knowing maybe a little bit more about your role, what does that give you the freedom to do in terms of getting ready for the season the way that you can best be suited to?
I think it's just one less thing to worry about. I think worrying about where you're going to end up, like whether it's like family, friends coming to visit you, I mean, you know where you're going to be, and you kind of know your schedule mostly, so I think that's definitely an easier part of it.
You had time with Akron in the 2022 season, kind of the second half of that year, and did so well that you earned the League Pitcher of the Year award that season. But what stood out to you from that time as a RubberDuck?
I think that was my first jump into like the upper levels. I think that made me realize how improved I've gotten, I think, since college. I feel like a lot of people try to make like analogies for like college baseball, like double A is like SEC baseball, like high A is this. So I think being able to go into double A and kind of pitch really well, kind of seamlessly from Lake County, I think almost improve, I guess, with runs wise. I think it was definitely a good boost of confidence for me. It made me realize that like my stuff does play, my stuff is good. I just need to do this, and this, and I could be able to move on.
And kind of to still build on that, the work you did there, what were kind of the next steps that were pivotal to making the jump all the way to Cleveland?
I think just finding out, like kind of identifying strengths and weaknesses. I think for me, you gotta do what you do well. You gotta do them well. Everyone has to have their strength, and when you're pitching in the major leagues, you gotta have your strengths, and you gotta really execute them. And with weaknesses, I think you just gotta know what your weaknesses are, and kind of you don't need to hyper fixate on them, but you need to maybe every day touch on it a little bit so that weakness can get a little bit better, a little better, a little better. So that's what I would say.
Who's been key for you in just making that identification of here are some strengths, here are some weaknesses?
I just think the whole pitching department. I think Carl, Joe, DG. I mean, even like Joel Mangrum down here is just a big part of my whole come to the minors. I think just the whole pitching department has been really crucial with my development.
Now you're getting to pitch for Stephen Vogt for the first time this year, Terry Francona a year ago. What's it been like getting to know Stephen and sort of pitching with him as your leader?
Yeah, it's fun so far. I mean, he's definitely a different kind of person than Tito was, but it's pretty awesome. I think it's a cool little breath of fresh air, and I think with such a young team, I think having a young leader is going to be good for us, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting.
It was not quite a full year ago that you get the call up to Cleveland to the major leagues. What do you remember?
A lot. A lot and a little at the same time. I mean, getting the call, going to face Colorado in a day game on a Wednesday, it was an unbelievable experience. Everyone always talks about how crazy your first game is and how nervous you're going to be, and everything that they say is correct.
When did you feel like, hey, I do belong here?
I think when I was able to climb, when I kind of struggled a little bit in like the May month, like the end of the May month, I think being able to crawl out of that and be able to come out better for it, I think was a big thing of even with my best stuff, I could still compete in the big leagues. I can still do all this stuff even when I'm not on my A game. I think that was kind of when I realized that I belong there.
When you think about the ultimate end of such a successful season a year ago, and people ask, well, what led to that success? What led to being such a strong rookie campaign for you? What would you say?
I think consistency. I think routines. I think there's so much unexpected stuff that happens in baseball. I think staying in your routines, being able to do everything very comfortably, whether it's consistency, routines, like I just said. But I think being able to have a consistent plan every single day, I think really takes away that one expected thing in your life.
I know when you were in Akron, you talked a lot about kind of the mental part of the game and how your college journey was so impactful and just kind of shaping that, and you were still working on that. How much are you seeing now how crucial that is at this level?
Yeah, I mean, I think no one's ever going to be perfect at the mental game. I mean, it comes in waves, obviously. I think it can be, some weeks it's going to be really good, some weeks it's going to be really bad. And I think how you can crawl out of the bad is kind of what really determines who you are, what you can accomplish. So that's what I would say.
Douglas Odor, who was your manager with Akron in 2022, now with the Major League coaching staff.
Yeah.
What's it like to now have him in that role, and you're both in the big leagues, based on the relationship that formed a couple years ago?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, he absolutely deserves it. I mean, he's put a lot of work in the minor leagues, so I think finally seeing him be able to come up and contribute to the big league ball club, I think is absolutely awesome. And he's an awesome dude, and he absolutely deserves it.
Well, Tanner, we know you deserve being up with the Guardians as well. We're so proud of you and your accomplishments in Akron. Thanks again for giving us some time.
Yeah, of course.
That's Guardians pitcher Tanner Bibee.